Hey everyone, this is Turd Flinging Monkey. If I sound a little different, it's because I bought a digital audio recorder. That way I wasn't completely strapped to my computer all the time when I recorded for a video. Right now I'm sitting outside on my porch enjoying the nice weather. It's not too hot, not too cold, so I thought I would sit out here and enjoy the weather while I recorded a video. So I'm going to use a couple terms which are overly used, overly applied, but I can't think of any better words to describe these things. So men have effectively three mating strategies. Just for the sake of argument, I know there's multiple definitions for these words, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to define them using the words alpha, beta, and cuck. And it makes sense, when you have A, B, C, it's very easy to remember. So the way to differentiate these three is the alpha has high genetic superiority, not necessarily high resources or high paternal care or caregiving, but he has high genetic superiority. He has good genes. And the alpha is going to get laid. Women are going to want to have his babies simply because of his genes. He looks good, he's intelligent, whatever genes he has, women desire to have children with him, if only to have their children share his genes. Now the beta is someone who didn't necessarily win the genetic lottery, but they're intelligent and hardworking enough in order to acquire resources. And they acquire sex and reproductive success that way. So the beta has high resources, not necessarily high genetic superiority, not necessarily high companionship or paternal care, but he has high resources. Now it goes without saying that women desire all three of these things. If there's a man that has good genes, he's good looking, he has resources, and he's a caring person, obviously women are going to go for that overall. But I'm just comparing these three mating strategies on their own. Now the third strategy is the cuck. Now the cuck isn't good looking, he doesn't have good genes, he doesn't have a lot of money, in fact he may be broke, so he's broke and ugly, but he tries to make up for it by being a kind person, being the nice guy. Now cucks are usually friend-zoned, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're completely shut out and they have absolutely no chance. They just have to rely on the woman lowering her standards to their level. Now, as I talked about in a previous video, women consider lowering their standards due to dire straits a form of abuse. If a woman falls on hard times and has to date down to you in order to, have you take care of her, then you're abusing her. It's bullshit, but this is how the cuck achieves success. And the tragedy of the cuck is that it's cucks who have implemented feminism and gynocentrism because they didn't understand how hypergamy works. There is no way to just get rid of these instincts. They're hardwired into us. So, for example, in my video about human nature, the welfare state has provided an experiment where women did not need to be hypergamous. They didn't need to go after the man with more money because the government was backstopping them, making sure they had enough food, enough whatever basic necessities to raise their children. And yet hypergamy did not go down, hypergamy got worse. Women started raising their standards because now men didn't just have to compete with each other, they had to compete with the welfare state. And women, given the choice, would rather be single mothers on welfare than date down and get with a cuck. And you also have guys marrying single mothers, and they marry these single mothers because they're usually more beautiful than the kind of woman they can normally attract. So you have a woman who's fairly attractive, but she can't find, a decent guy, quote unquote, because she's a single mom and no one wants to deal with that shit. But here comes Mr. Cuck, will happily marry you, will happily raise the children you got from a previous relationship, in exchange for achieving some reproductive success himself. It's the price he has to pay. Because when you're a cuck, what else do you have to offer? So in a traditional patriarchal society, where women really don't have a lot of rights, and they're basically restricted by what the man is willing to offer them, the cucks got together with the women in order to impose feminism. It was really the cucks who pushed women's rights. In fact, you can see this very starkly in the move to give women the right to vote. You saw these guys in Wyoming. Wyoming isn't a very particularly progressive state. They were the first state to allow women to vote, and they did that because they wanted more women to live there. They were trying to get more women to move to Wyoming. And the tragedy of the cuck is they work so hard to create a better situation for themselves, and all they do is fuck themselves over. Everything the cucks have built, all the feminist and gynocentric systems that they have imposed and built with the feminists, because women can't build shit on their own. They need these cucks to work with them. But the tragedy is, As soon as they build the system for the women, then the women don't need them anymore. In a patriarchal system, if there was no welfare state and women couldn't vote or all that other shit. So the woman has sex with the alpha or the beta or whatever, and she has a kid, and she gets thrown out for whatever reason. Now she needs to find someone who will help her raise her kid. She's going to have to date a cuck. She's going to have to marry a cuck, because no one else is going to put up with her. No one's going to want to deal with that. So the cuck actually had a shot with the average woman, the average single mom, quote unquote. And single moms are very, very rare. You didn't see women just cashing in their chips and wanting a divorce when they couldn't own property or vote or any of this other bullshit. If a woman was in dire straits, a cuck could swoop in, play Captain Save-A-Ho, and actually get rewarded for it. He could get a woman much more attractive than he would normally be able to land, because she needed him and because she couldn't do better, i.e. hypergamy. Now, by building these feminist systems like welfare and all this other shit, now women don't need the cuck. Now they can just go to the government, and the government will force the alpha or the beta, whoever is the father of the child, to support the woman. You have lifetime alimony, child support, all these systems built by cucks in order to prove that they're good men. I mean, when we talk about female validation, we're talking about these cucks. They're trying to get laid, but that's subconscious. They really just want to be thought of as good men. That's the only thing they have. They're not attractive and they're not rich, but they're good men. That's all they have. So they try to be good people to these women. They try to give them what they want. They try to build this world where women will, appreciate them. All they're really doing is creating their replacement. Because when women have the welfare state, they don't need the cucks anymore. They can now siphon money from the father of the child through alimony and child support, and then just ride the cock carousel. Just get fucked by alphas all day. Guys they're attracted to. Not necessarily guys they need anything from. So now she can just fuck all the alphas she wants. She could just go after the attractive guys. But that was the cuck's only way of achieving reproductive success previously. Because they didn't understand hypergamy. They thought that if they built this system, women and cucks, and I've heard this argument almost word for word. I'm going to try to remember exactly how it was phrased. The idea was to build a world where women wouldn't need money and resources and would just get with a guy because he would be a good father. She would have sex and have children with a man because he was a good father. Because now you have this moneyless system, or you have this socialist system, so that cuts out the beta's proposition. So now all she has to choose from is looks and, paternal care. And the idea is by cutting out the betas, I guess they think they're going to win out to the alphas, or there won't be enough alphas to go around, so they'll be able to swoop in and get the leftovers. But as we've seen, the women are more than happy to just join some harem of an alpha. You don't understand hypergamy. If you're trying to fight for some system, thinking that women are going to choose you if they don't need money, that hypergamy is just going to go away. Unfortunately, there is no system where you win. The best case scenario you have is that you can play Captain Save-A-Ho and get some single mom who needs your money or needs you to help her raise her kids. That's your best case scenario. Once you cut that out by building a welfare state and all these other programs, the women don't need you anymore, and now you have nothing. And this is why you see a lot of these men's rights activists and egalitarians are cucks. They're disaffected feminists who built this feminist machine. So they built this system thinking that money was the problem, because they blamed the betas. Because obviously they can't compete with the alphas. I mean, your genes are your genes. You can't fix that after the fact. They looked at the betas who had more money than them, and they thought, well, if I could take their money away, or if I could eliminate money from the equation, maybe I'd have a shot. That was the thought anyway. That's why these cucks built the feminist systems. That's why they built the gynocentric society. But in the end, they simply priced themselves out of the market. Because now the women don't need the cucks at all. They don't even need the betas at all. They can just all fuck the alphas. And if he's rich, if he has a little bit of money, they'll put him on child support and alimony. If he doesn't have any money, well, they'll get by on welfare. So my message to the cucks out there, and I know it's a derogatory word, I don't mean it in the way that a lot of people use it online. I'm not saying that, you like to watch your girlfriend get fucked by other guys. But you will date a single mom. I mean, this is why these guys, these nice guys go in the friend zone, hoping to get these girls out of the friend zone someday. What they're hoping for is something happens to her and she needs somebody. And what that usually entails is she gets pregnant from some alpha and she needs someone to raise the child. And so here comes the cuck, like, oh, now's my chance. Now I can finally get with Heather or Susan or whatever the fuck her name is. I'm going to get out of the friend zone because now she needs someone. You're just waiting for your time to be that cuck. Which is fine. I get it. If you didn't win the genetic lottery and you're just too lazy or stupid to, become wealthy, then that's really your best bet. And I totally understand why you do it. The purpose of this video is to help you understand, hopefully, that your plan is doomed to fail from the beginning. As soon as you get rid of the betas, as soon as you get rid of that competition, you also get rid of yourself. Because women don't give a shit. As soon as they don't need you, they'll turn on you. And you think that they're going to appreciate you, and that because they favor you, because you helped them build this, that they're going to favor you over the alphas. But you don't know women. You don't know female nature. You don't know hypergamy. So just think about that. This is Turd Flinging Monkey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.